I'm going back to Saudi Arabia. I'm not even over the jet lag. I'm still like half goofy. But a lot of the fans out there say, Teddy, you're half goofy all the time, maybe. But now I have an excuse for being half goofy, that this jet lag does hang with you for a little bit. But maybe I'm going to test a new theory, that when you have jet lag and it's taking a minute to get over it, you just go back to where you got the jet lag. You know, maybe that'll work. But I'm going back. I'm going back Wednesday for that big show that they have next week. The five versus 5, Queensberry versus Matchroom. We'll be previewing those fights for you during this show too. The 3 big ones from that card. I'm still very fortunate that people want me to go there, and that we can have this experience, me and my son together. So hopefully everything will go well. It'll be another good show out there.
Let's start with Deontay Wilder in there with Zhilei Zhang. Surprisingly, Zhilei Zhang, the slight favorite here. It's interesting how the tides have shifted for Deontay Wilder in recent years. But what are you looking for in this one?
Listen, both guys are getting older. Both guys have miles on the odometer. Zhang is at least 40. You can look it up for me. He's 40, 41, whatever. And I think he was in 2 Olympics, not 1. Wilder was in 1. He won a bronze medal. But Wilder's 38. So they're both, neither guy's a spring chicken. They're showing their age a little bit.
He's 41 years old, Zhang.
Yeah. And where they're showing their age, where it's showing tangibly in their performance, is with endurance, with offensive consistency or lack of. Where Zhang with Parker, he tired down the stretch. Parker did a marvelous job beating him, but he tired down the stretch. He wasn't able to offensively. He had hurt Parker, dropped him early in the fight, but he wasn't able to consistently, steadily maintain his offensive posture. He tired. And I think some of that's connected, of course, to conditioning. He's a big guy. It's hard for big guys like that sometimes to get into superior condition. But I think it's connected to age also, where his age is part of the reason why he's not able to keep his motor running, if you will, at the velocity that he would want to, and that his trainer would want to, and you would want to if you were back of his. So he, peters out a little bit down the stretch. And Wilder is showing the same signs, where he wasn't able to offensively maintain a consistent pace throughout the Parker fight. Now, Wilder has some other issues that he's always had, but he's overcome it with one great asset, power. That great eraser that can get rid of a lot of mistakes real fast. That right hand thunderbolt that Wilder has. It's as good as any puncher has ever had, or any heavyweight has ever had, probably in the history of the sport. It's that good for one shot. The problem is his overall surrounding technique in other areas is not that supportive, where he's out of position, he's not balanced. His technique has been questioned and reasonably, honestly questioned, where at times it's anything but what you would want it to be to supplement the great assets that he has with athleticism, with the power in the right hand, and with his heart. He's got great heart. He's shown that in the Fury fights when he got dropped, and he came back, and then he dropped Fury. But that's another part of my breakdown for this fight. I think those fights took a lot out of him. They do. And again, Zhang, 41 years old, I think that it's hard for him to maintain himself at a level that you would want to, and you probably would be able to if he was 5-6 years younger. So that is part of the breakdown. Zhang, a huge man. I think if he uses his jab, Parker showed that you could back up Wilder if you do it carefully, smartly, behind the jab. You could keep him off balance, keep him from really detonating that bomb, the right hand, keep him from being set. I think that would be the strategy if I was with Zhang. You know, you got to do it cautiously. You got to do it buttoned up. You can't get countered with a right hand on the way in. You can't get careless for a second with Wilder. He'll put your lights out. But Zhang, the big monster that he is, use that jab to push Wilder back, keep him off balance. Make sure you're jabbing from the right distance where you're not leaving yourself vulnerable to rights. Give him a feint once in a while to keep him off balance. And keep him off balance. Back him up and look to land your big shots, the right hand off of the jab. That's what I would be looking for Zhang. Wilder, the thing that concerned me about him in his fight with Parker, he wasn't, if you got a bomb like that, like I always said, and Customato always said, having a bomb has no military value if you don't have a missile or means to get it to the target, a missile. You have to have a delivery system. Otherwise, there's no value to it. And his delivery system in his last fight with Parker, I've seen his delivery system look pretty good with Ortiz, where he blinded him with the jab and the right hand was shot like a missile, speaking of missiles, right down the middle, and he knocked out Ortiz in a fight where he was losing. But in this fight with Parker, his delivery system did not look up to operating standards. He was not set to deliver that bomb for the most part. And for the most part, it was throwing one or two punches that were not accurate, that were wide a lot of times, and then a lot of grabbing and falling in. Again, not balanced, not set. One of his assets for him is he's got a long reach. He's got good height. He should set himself on the outside, be set to catch his opponents on the outside, catch them coming in, you know. And you can't do that if your legs aren't under you. So at the end of the day, I'm going to take Zhang with a lot of trepidation, a lot of, carefully, because one punch, it changes everything. And I'll leave it with this. Having said all of that, Zhang is a southpaw. And what is the southpaw killer that I've always quoted? The right hand. And Wilder's got the right hand. So that makes it really interesting. It's an interesting as hell fight. It's obviously a crossroads fight. It's a career fight for both guys. I'm going to favor Zhang.
All right, let's talk about the other two undercards, Teddy. Dmitry Bivol in against replacement Malik Zinad from Saudi. What are you looking for here? Does Zinad have a chance with Bivol?
He's got a difficult style. He's undefeated, number one. He hasn't learned how to lose. Huge step up. He's going from the wading pool to the ocean. Okay, that's a big step up.
That's for sure.
Bivol, pound for pound, I think is one of the top guys in the world. I think now my restructured pound for pound off the top of my head is Usyk, Crawford, in a way, and then probably Bivol. He's right. I don't have it in front of me, but he's right up there. And so obviously, I think the biggest maybe enemy or opponent of Bivol would also be that he would overlook his opponent now, being that it's not Beterbiev anymore. But I don't think he's made up that way. So they're very serious people. I don't think he's made up that way. He's mentally solid. He's fighting a guy who, again, is undefeated, and he's got a difficult style. He likes to control the outside. He keeps his lead hand very low, but it makes it hard because it's hard to counter because he's at a distance where it's low, but he's not close enough to really take advantage of it. And he kind of throws that jab like the great Larry Holmes used to throw from his hips sometimes, where it comes up and at you, where it's hard to judge his length. It's hard to get the distance on him. Judge probably. It's very important to judge distance in a fight. Where the safety part is and where the danger zone is. Where it's safe, where it's dangerous. Where the punches end. Where you got to know where they end, so you know whether or not you're in range or you're out of range. And when a guy's got his lead, jabbing hand low like that, and it shoots up, it's hard to get an understanding of that distance. It's hard to measure it, judge it. So he's got that going. That might take a few rounds for Bivol to figure out. And he's very standard. He's very conventional, his opponent, where it's mostly jab, and I think he's a southpaw. Well, can you look that? I just want to be 100% sure. I have it in my head that he's a southpaw.
I'll look now, but one quick note. I think I said Mark Zinad. It's obviously Malik Zinad.
Yeah, Zinad.
Orthodox.
He's Orthodox? All right. I think he switches. He might switch. But okay.
Yeah, it could be 22-0.
I'm glad I asked you. So it doesn't change his style. His approach, his style is the same. He's got his lead jabbing hand, whether it's left or right. So I guess if he's fighting Orthodox, it's left. He's got his lead jabbing hand low. And again, it makes it very hard to judge distance on him. Very hard. He's unorthodox that way. He's very standard and solid with being just conventional with basics. It's mostly jab and straight right hand. If he's southpaw, it would be jab and straight left hand. But it's jab, right hand. It's all basic stuff. Controlling range, looking to use the jab to set the table, and looking to eat with the power punch behind the jab. Like I said, just solid in that area. Kind of one-dimensional, not a lot more coming, but controlling in front of you, controlling distance, controlling range, looking to use the jab to set up the right hand, and sometimes switching it to an uppercut. He showed in a couple of fights I watched of him, he showed confidence, showed heart. Again, he's in there with a whole different level now. Like I said, he's going from the wading pool to the ocean. So we'll see how he handles it. I think he'll handle it all right. If I had to guess from the little bit I've seen of him, he's made up his constitution as the constitution of a guy who will rise to the occasion mentally the best that he can. He'll probably come up short physically and technically with Bivol, who's one of the best fighters in the world. But I don't think he'll completely disappoint you from a mental standpoint where he won't show up or where, he'll fall apart. So I think it goes rounds. I think that Bivol's not a seek and destroy guy. He's a pinpoint guy. He's a surgeon. He's a laser accurate guy looking for laser shots. But he's not a seek and destroy guy. So I'm gonna say whatever the line is, I'm gonna go towards the over. I know Bivol's got to be a prohibitive favorite, so you can't really bet him. But I would look to say it's going to go the distance.
The last one that I want to talk to there is Daniel Dubois, Filip Hrgovic.
Look, Hrgovic should be the favorite. He hasn't learned how to lose yet, and he's got a big win over Zhang. Close fight, but I thought he beat Zhang, but it was very close fight. And they both got hurt. He hurt Zhang, Zhang hurt him, and they both ran out of gas a little bit, especially Zhang in that fight. That's another concern with Hrgovic, but he's very standard too. He's for the most part, he's jab, technically solid, hands up, looks to be right in front of you, looks to press the envelope if he can, but he does it with a jab. He does it patiently, cautiously, responsibly. He's standard. He uses his jab to set up straight right hand. That's his bread and butter. He'll look to put quick combinations, not with power, but just kind of like quick, good, nice combinations together. Pretty good for a heavyweight. He'll do that in spurts. Dubois is a good technical fighter. And I'm breaking this fight down with Hrgovic. All I can say is, if he shows up with that same attitude, that same Dubois, I give him it's going to be a hell of a fight, and I give him a good chance to win. If he shows up with that same constitution. Now, history, does it repeat itself? I don't know. Because the history of Buster Douglas, he never was the same as he was that night with Tyson. The next fight with Holyfield, the great Evander Holyfield, he got knocked out. And he was not the same guy. And look, he made a lot of money. He went up in weight. He came down. He got a lot of stuff. Not everyone can handle making money like that. Changed his life. But he was great against Tyson. You never take that away from him. But he wasn't as prepared to be great against Holyfield. I don't know if Dubois takes that same path. If he falters back, he proved himself, he redeemed himself. Does he falter back now and he's satisfied with that? And does he go backwards a little bit and doesn't have the same resolve against Hrgovic, which he's going to need? I don't know. I'm gonna give him credit. I'm gonna say that he is gonna be and show that resolve again. He has turned the corner. It has made an impression on him. It has changed him to where now he believes in himself. And he knows that he doesn't have to give in when he's fighting at that level. And if that's the case, it's a real pick'em fight.
Teddy, safe travels to Saudi Arabia again, and we will look forward to seeing you. But when you get back and hearing about all the action, I'm sure it'll be an incredible event, per usual, from the kingdom.
Oh, God bless everybody.